Oh, wait, hold on 1 second.
Mhm. Uh-oh, we weren't live?
We weren't live.
We could start over.
Oh my God. How did that happen?
Hey guys, we're live now.
Oh no. How did it happen?
We're live now.
Okay.
Hey guys, we've been talking for about 30 minutes.
It was so good. I hit the live button twice. I don't know what happened.
But we're live. If anyone's there, we're live now.
Okay. All right. It must have
You're
reset
probably
or somehow. Okay, we gotta start again.
probably thinking, nobody's chatting. What's going on?
Oh my God. So now they're gone. Okay.
It's okay. It's
All right. If you are still here, I'm Yvonne McBride. This is Yvonne McBride. Lit life and interspace.
Lit life.
Encourage women of the African diaspora to live their best life. Whatever that best life is, I am not here to tell you what your dreams are, but I am here to provide resources,
yes,
motivation, and give you people, give you access to people who can help you make those dreams come true. Today, we are talking to Marcia Hylton, who is known as Marcia Unbound. I'm going to keep laughing. I'm going to get myself together, y'all. We have been talking for 30 minutes. And Marcia, introduce yourself, please.
Hey guys, I'm Marcia Hylton. You know, Hylton, like not like the hotel, but Marcia Hylton. At Marcia Unbound is the, what do you want to call it? That's what I call myself online.
What's your brand name?
Yeah. So I am a digital nomad advisor, or on a broader scale, a move abroad advisor, and I've been expat / digital nomad. I started the whole journey in late 2014, early 2015. See, now I have this recollection of everything. So
yes.
I'm more prepared now. So I've been doing this for a while, and I help women who want to be digital nomads, future digital nomads or expats, primarily I help people figure out ways to fund their dream life abroad. One of the ways is through selling the belongings that they own.
Yes.
Another way, the primary way, is to identify the skill set they have, whether it's passions or hobbies or their professional skills, expertise, and then just taking that and finding a way to work for themselves so they can have location freedom and financial freedom abroad. So that's the primary thing I do. I help support women getting the money in their pockets.
Okay, so we're gonna start all over. Can you tell us how you began your nomad life? What was your motivation? The how-to. Let's begin there, please.
Okay, this is going to be tricky because okay. So I began in the kickoff that started warming me into this whole thing was my father passing away in the middle of me pursuing this corporate career, in the middle of me being interviewed for an AVP position at this company, just trying to make my way up. And then just realizing that I needed to pause. I needed to get some life in before I lost some more years, because I spent my time working 18-hour days. I spent my time, even in college, working like 2 part-time jobs that were full-time jobs altogether. While going to school full-time, I was doing the thing. I was going to achieve it all. And I didn't I didn't have a husband, I didn't have kids. I was going to make it happen because I was sacrificing everything.
Right.
Vacations, what's that? Right? But my father passed away, and he was basically a workaholic too. And it was sort of a, ooh, like, what are you doing?
Yes.
At least
you had patterned your life after him, after watching him. Yeah. He was the hard worker. So you said, I have to be a hard worker.
Yeah, and it was also partly cultural for me because, I'm out of the Caribbean. Came to the U.S. when I was 12, 13. And so it's like, that was expected being a child of an immigrant. Yes. And then my father was the way he was. I mean, I went in the military after spending time living with my father, and I was like, basic training, what's that? It's just like no big deal. Right. I can do this. So I was prepared.
Yeah, after you said, look, I got my bachelor's, and he was like, what?
Oh yeah. So, you reminded me because we did this. Okay, so yeah, I got my bachelor's degree, and my dad, I was like, Dad, I finished my bachelor's. Like, okay, when do you get your master's?
Yes.
Okay, and then I later on, Dad, I made six figures. Oh, let me know when you have your first million. I was like,
Yes.
that was the standard I was living in,
Yes.
working towards.
But
So
you were burnt out. You were
I
becoming
burnt
burnt.
out. I burnt out. And when my dad died, that was an awakening. And so I thought I had learned a lesson. And what I did was I left corporate and started a marketing agency because I was doing marketing at that time in corporate. Then I realized a few years later, I wasn't really doing anything different. I was owning my time in a sense, but not really. Like I had employees, I had to oversee all of that. And I had more flexibility because I really could determine some things like what clients I wanted, but it wasn't a level of freedom I wanted.
Yes.
So I decided to just, sell, close down, all that. And then I started taking some coursework in coaching, like I was getting a coaching certification.
Okay.
And I started traveling. So, late 2014, I began to travel. I started taking a tour of the U.S. basically through
Okay.
2015. I was hitting the East Coast, up and down the East Coast, Catalina Islands, LA, San Diego. Where'd I go? In Portland, Oregon. New York City on the East Coast, Virginia Beach. I was Miami. Miami is a vibe. I was in Miami, like there are videos I have on my phone. I'm like, just like crazy. I was like not this corporate person with the suits anymore.
Right. Right.
I just bounced around,
But
did my U.S.
at this time, you were taking time off
I was taking
and
time.
exploring the U.S. I'm glad you did that because a lot of people when they start traveling outside, and I
Yeah,
still haven't gotten around to I want to see all type
yeah,
of places, right? I
yeah,
see the Catalina Islands, all of those
yeah,
places, but you have your money, you're like, oh, what am I
yeah.
going to spend it on? So that was a
Right.
good idea.
Yeah, I was like, let's just do that, and so I did that. Plus, I was taking this the coaching course, which I could have still taken from anywhere, but it just allowed me time to do that. When I wrapped that course up, there are people I know from my business or entrepreneurship world. I was in Houston, so Houston was big for entrepreneurs. A lot of Black entrepreneurs in Houston. So people I knew from that circle, and then people I knew from corporate. So there are people who's like, "Will you coach me?" So I didn't have to go hunting for clients, and I
Yeah,
didn't want a ton of clients because I wanted some freedom.
right.
So I had a good number of clients just like that. So
Okay.
I was hitting Jamaica, Montego Bay. I was hitting various Caribbean islands. So I was still venturing just a little further out,
Okay.
right? I was
Yeah.
hitting Mexico, like going along the whole eastern coast. I was doing the things.
So
And then,
you started inland and then you started branching your way out inch by inch.
yeah, in the US tour, I'd done Hawaii, a couple of islands, came
Yeah.
back, that thing. But, and then I decided I still had a house here in the US. I had moved to South Texas, near the beach, near the coast. It was on the border too, but it was like 25 palm trees in my yard. It was like very tropical-ish.
Yeah, yeah.
I had a papaya tree. I had all these things growing, but it was a place to come back to between my travels. It was
Right.
like, and it was still very chill. So I was loving that so much. And then I decided, I think I started going overseas. I
Okay.
started,
So where did
uh,
you start first? Can you remember?
if we're not counting the Caribbean and Mexico, we're talking about further out.
Yes.
Uh, I don't remember the exact first place.
Okay.
Um, I don't remember where the first place was, but places that stood out for me, places that I mentioned earlier, but places that really stick with me. Amsterdam sticks with me, but it's only because I didn't really like it. Amsterdam was not my vibe. I'm sure it was because I was feeling unwell. And then I went in Thailand, I fell in love with the first time. And so I went back there a couple of times. In 1 year, I was back there a couple of times. And I had in different areas of the country. And then Italy sticks out for me because I got around the country a little bit. So I'm one of those people who goes somewhere and I want to really spend time and I like to immerse myself in the culture. I
Yes.
need to engage with the people, also just with other travelers, because people who, especially back then, because you said earlier, everybody's kind of doing it now, but
Yeah.
there's a certain kind of people who are always traveling like this, and they had a certain mindset. The conversations were really interesting. And
Yes.
so, and people tend to really share a lot with a random stranger on a trip somewhere across the world. So I
Because
was,
they're trying to establish some type of familiarity with the new people, right?
Right. And I think people who do a lot of this also become really open,
Yeah.
so it was a really enjoyable experience, and I like to go back and immerse myself and ask questions and learn about the places. So I've done several countries. Like I said earlier, I wish I'd come back with a list. I should have read your beforehand, but I hadn't. So
I can remind you, uh, Dubai,
uh,
Amsterdam.
you remember?
Yes,
And then in Central America, you remind me now. Central America, I did hit Central America a lot, like
yes.
Costa Rica, different parts of Costa Rica,
Panama, Costa Rica.
Panama, Costa Rica, yeah, and then where else? Panama, Costa Rica. Oh, Colombia, one of my favorites. Yeah, it was just I was out there, okay.
Yes.
But there's certain ones that stick with me. I still have the attitude of I want to visit more places. I would travel to somewhere else every month if my well, I was mentioning earlier, I have, autoimmune conditions. So it sort of in some ways guides to my decision making now. But I want people to know that even with most health conditions, there are ways to navigate being able to travel. There's a gal on YouTube who is very disabled, or what there's a more proper term for that, so I apologize. But she has some physical constraints, and she is still traveling. I think she even has a wheelchair. She is still traveling about the world. There are people with kids, and they're making it work. There are people who are there are ways.
So there are no reasons not to do it. Any reason that you can come up with.
I mean,
we talked about earlier taking your blinders off. Hi, Lucille. How are you? Thanks for joining us. How long were you here? Were you here for a very long time, waiting for us to go live? Thank you for joining us. We're talking about freedom, getting free, especially after the last few weeks. If this is something that you are ready to do, ask your questions. Marcia is here to tell us how she did it and give tips on how you can.
Yeah. Sorry about Lucille. We went live. We thought we were going live earlier, but it didn't work out.
We talked for 30 minutes, y'all. We were talking for 30 minutes, and I thought I did push the go live button. Anyhow, getting back to the topic, talk about taking your blinders off.
Blinders off. It's my attitude about life, especially since just the transitions I went through starting, in near 2014-ish, my dad died 2011. Just having an attitude. Well, first of all, we're all born in these circumstances. That's not our choosing. Whether it's the country you're born in these man-made borders that we believe are like solid walls, and man-made cultures that we believe we cannot exit, and we stay in there. We spend our entire lives. I've met people in the Midwest who have never left their town, their small town, or their county even. And I'm like, they meet me and they're like, "You're from where?" So
I call it hamster on the wheel. You're just hamster on the wheel. You're never leaving, getting off that wheel. If you get off the wheel, you're never leaving that crate. So
yeah. And I believe it's like racehorses wear these blinders to keep them focused on what's straight ahead.
Yes.
I think our culture teaches us to wear those blinders so that we keep our labor here, so that we keep our money here to support capitalism. So all the things. I'm not going to go into too much of that, but I have my feelings about that. But it's intentional. They put fear into us, so we won't want to explore other places. And I try to remind people that the U.S. is only 4% of the world's population. There's 96% of the world out there to look at, to explore, to get to know. How can you not want to be curious? How can you not want to know? How can you not be curious about that?
Exactly.
So, blinders are keeping us on the same path as everyone before us. When we have choices, we have options, and there are ways to accomplish them, but we think we can't. We tell ourselves no before the universe tells us no.
Yes.
So,
and talk about the book of yes. Like,
hi. So that goes back to my travel then, right? So after I did my local or US travel, and then I started venturing into the Caribbean and then Central America. Well, even before that, as I was doing all of this, I had decided that I wanted to remove the blinders. I at least do the best I can. I don't think we can remove all our biases and all the things, right? Do the best I can. My attitude was, whenever I wanted to live more. That was the thing. And I told myself, whenever I encountered something, try to be more conscious of the fact that when you encounter certain things, you automatically, out of habit, say no, or oh, that's not for me, or
Right.
you don't even think about it. You don't even think about it. And I decided that when I saw options, I would consider ones that I would typically not consider. And so I started saying yes to things. Oh, that dish, I would, you know what, let me try it. Oh, that experience. Oh, let me, oh, I'm a Black woman. Black people don't do that. Guess what? I'm there. Like, I am just like, forget about all that. I'm going to
Yeah.
do the things. I have a right to try life and do the things.
Right. So it starts with your freedom of choice, right?
Realizing you have that.
Opening your mind to say, even with whatever, money is a thing. I'm not saying money is not a
Oh,
thing. Money is a thing, but we're going to talk about that too.
yeah. We can talk about
Stay tuned. We're going to talk about that. But, anything that you can think of to say, oh, I can't, there's a solution to that.
There's a way. There's a way.
There's a solution to that. Okay. So your situation now. Well, no, let's get back. Let's stay on travel for a bit. So
Okay.
we talked about the countries that you've been to. Let's do the quick fire. What is your favorite country?
Oh, yeah. My favorite country, if you haven't figured it out by now, is outside of the Caribbean and Central America. It's Thailand.
Thailand.
I think it's because there's familiarity with it's tropical.
Okay.
And I spent my first 12, 13 years in tropics, right? I like the people. They're very open. There's a lot of changes that are happening since earlier in my process, because the world is changing so much. There's been COVID, there's been these presidential things that impact the world. There's, so the world's changing, and I hope they haven't changed much, but they were never colonized. So there was something about the way,
Okay.
I think there's also one nation in Africa that's never been all the rest were, and I was like, what? But yeah, they were never. So there's a certain way they felt, the place, the vibe they had that I appreciated. I remember the first time I went there, there was this book I stayed in a boutique hotel, and there was a book that told you about the customs and the habits there, and they said, don't raise your voice. Yeah. Don't raise your voice because that's not really part of the culture here. And
Wow.
I love that. I love that. From being this loud.
It's just peace. It's just peace there.
And I'm sure they have their things, but it's just the way they approach it properly. I am all into Zen, just taking it. Hey there.
Hey, Tioka. Thank you for liking the video also. If you are in the room, please introduce yourself. I don't know if you're here unless you introduce yourself. I'm sorry if you were waiting. We were chatting for like 30 minutes before I realized we hadn't gone live. So yes, we have started over for you all. It's been a morning. Thank you for being here. Thank you for returning. If you were here earlier, grateful.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I forgot.
Thailand is your favorite because they're so welcoming.
Favorite. It's the tropics, it's the people, it's the vibe in the country, and of course, the food.
The food. And other quick fire. What's the best food? Okay.
Yeah, and also I'm very practical. So they have really good health care.
Oh.
I do a lot of research. Some of what I provide as products provides a lot of information because I do all the research. I look at numbers coming out of marketing and being before that computer science and engineering. It's all numbers and math to me. So even though I love the things, I also am very practical. So I did a lot of, so their healthcare, depending on which organization you look at in terms of stats, I think no matter what, I've seen them rank higher than the US even, or at least equal to. We know Costa Rica gets really good ratings. They sometimes are equal to the US or even better or right around.
I did not know that. Okay.
Yeah, that's an important point. Especially me with my autoimmune stuff, I have to be on top of that. So and it's very cost effective, very affordable there. So they have that as well. Not just good food, but a good place for you to get healthcare if you need it. So
okay. She is currently in Texas, on the border. She's not in your vicinity, but she's moving. So let's get to that. Let's get to what is your current status?
So at this time, I am, well, first I hold 2 passports, so there's that. And then as of earlier this year, I am a legal resident of Mexico. So, so basically I have 3 residencies and I don't mind collecting a couple others. So we'll see what happens. But that's where things stand right now.
Okay, so
Yeah.
what was your motivation? Why did you say, okay, I've been traveling. I really think I want to live somewhere else,
Yeah.
semi-permanently. What was the motivation behind that?
Yeah, nothing's permanent with me. So semi-permanent, it was quite right. Um, Motivation was mainly just wanting to explore places more so than live places. But the live part is I really love going somewhere and immersing myself and feeling like I am part of what is there.
Okay.
I don't just go as a tourist. I've never been the person who goes and gets the pictures next to the thing. You know, I'm there, I'm engaging with the locals, I'm asking questions, I make friends. I end up having Facebook friends from all these places I go because we exchange information and now we're Facebook friends or we're on Instagram. So this might give you a really clue to how my mind works. Years ago, you know how people would say, if you want that $300 million lottery, and I don't play the lotto, so I'm not going to win, but you know when people say that, you would say what you would do with that money?
Yes.
Y'all gonna laugh at me, but I used to say I would spend the rest of my life traveling from country to country, spending 6 months, a year, 2 years. I feel like I'm teary-eyed.
Why would you laugh about that? That's what we want to do. That's what we're going to do.
No, but then I would be in the country contributing in some way, whether it's helping to establish some school or doing a thing, however I could really contribute to that country, I would do that and spend the rest of my life that would be the rest of my life.
Exactly. That's what you do with the money. That's not what you do with the money. What else would you do?
Some people go buy a bunch of things and a bigger house and whatever. I am just.
We have turned the page. No, we are. If I win the lottery, I will not listen. That is what I don't care. I don't even have a car right now, so I ain't have no car. No.
I sold my car too. I don't have a car. I don't have anything. Yeah.
Yes. So the motivation behind getting residency
is exploring, taking on the whole world before my days end, like going and experiencing the whole world. And so Mexican residency was kind of driven by what's going on now. I saw it coming after the last time. I absolutely believed it would happen again.
Okay.
I hoped for the people who were hoping, but also it wasn't even about that to me. It was about what it told me about what the people who made that decision thought of people who look like me.
Yes.
And I didn't need to be told again.
Yes. Yes.
I did not need to be told again.
Because what if they show you the first time? You believe them. If they show you the first time, you believe them. Yes.
And we've all had the experiences, but it was so in your face and it was so disheartening that I was just like, I got it. I got
the message. I'm out. I got the message. I'm good.
I'm out.
Okay, so let's talk about that process. What was the getting residency? First of all, why did you choose Mexico?
Because it was quick and easy, and because I was very familiar with it.
Okay.
And partly because, we all know, I think most of us are familiar with Stephanie Perry. And
everybody here, yes.
Okay, and one of her videos, maybe it wasn't her. I think it was Adalia Abourishade, because I watched their videos. But mentioned about
Rashida.
She's from my island. Why do her name just
yes, Rashida.
And we still haven't met. We're supposed to meet when I'm back in Mexico. But so she was talking about how the requirements for financial requirements has been going up. All those ladies mentioned it actually. Now I'm thinking about it. Where it's going up by 20% again this year, 2024. Wow. And how it had gone up 20% per year over the previous 2 or 3 years.
Okay.
I was like, wait, what is that requirement? So
right. Right. If I'm going there, I need to get in now before they raise it again, right?
To a point where it's ridiculous, right? Because they're raising it 20% is a big jump over a few years. So that's 100% in 5, right? Yes. So I'm not at the age yet where I am retired, and some of the consulates won't let you get in. Some people let you get in even though you're on the retirement age. And so they'll have a different criteria, but because I'm not, they wouldn't quite let me get in on that criteria. But I was able to get in on the lower criteria, which allowed me it's temporary residency, but you get a longer one the next time and then you get permanent, right? Yeah. So I went in, I did the application at the consulate. It was November, and I was like, maybe I can get it done before the new year with a new cost. That was what I was trying to rush through. Like, let me get it done. they're floating it back to you. And it's not cost, it's more like the requirement. You're not,
Okay. Yeah.
and so I was like, maybe I can get in before. And I really hated pulling up all my bank statements and investment stuff to share with people, with these people, but that was the process. So I pulled all that out. I went to my financial advisor, pulled that stuff up, and then so you show them all they have the requirements on their website. You know, your what your income needs to be, if you're one person versus two people, both versus the family, and then all the other things. Like you have to provide a background investigation from your local police. You had to do all the things, right? So I went through and did all the
Were
things.
you in Mexico while you were doing this, or were you stateside?
You do that stateside. You start the process
So you had to come back and start the process here.
Yes, and from being in the groups I'm in, I learned that you don't have to do the consulate in your area, because some consulates are easier than others or less busy than others. So the one in my town was not that busy. So, but they, still took over a month to get back to me, but they're not that busy. And some others in South Texas are not that busy. So you can go there even if you live in Washington State or somewhere else. And a lot of people do that. But I did the process. They finally replied. It was a month for them to reply to an email. And then they said, send in these documents. So I did a lot of redacting on certain things because I'm like sending by email, And then I sent in the whole packet of like lots of papers.
And you did it yourself? Did you get a lawyer, or you did it yourself?
Did it myself. You don't need a lawyer. It's a little convoluted, but it's not difficult.
Okay.
Most people do it themselves. Now, on the other side, after you finish that process, you go to the consulate they set up an appointment. They review all your documents and decide whether they'll let you get a stamp or not. Okay. So they put a sticker in my passport, and the passport sticker lets you go to Mexico once in a 6-month period. And when you go that one time, it's like a temporary thing, right? When you go that one time, you have to get the visa completed there. If you miss that, you have to start from the entire process all over again.
Oh, wow. I did not know that. I knew you had to go back, but I didn't know you started over.
If you can't leave and come back again on that thing is one time.
Oh, okay.
So one of the challenges when you get to the airport in Mexico, sometimes people end up going through the wrong line and they get the wrong stamp and then they mess it all up. And it's really easy to do that.
Wow.
So on that end, I did hire sort of an advisor to help me make sure I didn't mess that part up, and also to go into the Mexican immigration office because they only speak Spanish. If you're not that fluent, you might, so they could help me make sure I got those parts right.
Well, how much was that advisor? How much did you pay the advisor?
A few $100s, I think.
Yeah, that's decent. All right.
And by the way, there are people who do that themselves too. Okay. It's just that part is a little trickier. So I didn't want to bounce back.
You didn't want to start over, right?
I do that. Yes. So I did that. Everything went fine. I stayed in Mexico for a few months, and then this was earlier this year.
Okay.
And then I came back to sell my last piece of property.
How many houses did you have here?
When I lived in South Texas, I had a couple of houses. When I moved here, I only had this one house. So I already
sold those.
Already sold those. Yeah.
Okay.
And so I sold before I went to Mexico, I had sold my car, which was my little baby, little convertible, but I wasn't driving it. COVID had happened, all that. I was sitting in the garage collecting dust. I got some good money on that one. I sold that. I sold my furniture. I sold my clothing. I sold my purses. I sold my shoes. It felt a little hard at first, but then it was freeing after it was done.
And then you're going to live off that money. You're stacking money.
Yes, that money, it's just.
And then money is going to stretch far in Mexico.
Thailand, wherever. It's, my car loan, maybe people don't want no numbers, but my car loan gave me enough to go through a year probably in Mexico, so it was good.
So lesson number, what? Where we at? Lesson number 3.
Yeah.
You can, if you're thinking about moving, I'm sure we all have purse. I have a lot. I have too many clothes I wore in 2 years. You have possessions you can sell if you're worried about money. You have possessions you can sell that you won't need when you move.
Yeah.
To make the move. Yes.
Yeah. And I still have possessions in the guest room, so I need to get rid of more things. The house is pretty much empty, but I have possessions I need to get rid of.
And did you sell it yourself, or did you put it online? How did you go about selling the items?
Because I was in marketing corporate for so long, I went through the whole organizing and setting up and promoting on the local app for our HOA, and then promoting on the Nextdoor app and on Facebook and the groups and all that stuff. And so I did the whole thing where I uploaded pictures and videos to a Google Drive. I had like a list of inventory. The bigger items. On the smaller items, I was not going to inventory this many plates, whatever.
Did it help? Is that how you sold the items?
It helped because I would say an example. I would post on Nextdoor and I would say, "Hey guys, I'm going to be having here's a couple of pictures. I'll have many more things. If you want to know what the things are and get ahead of the game, send me your email address in the messages."
Okay.
And so I was building an email list, and then I would send that email with a link to Google Drive to everyone. I did weekends because with autoimmune, I didn't always have enough energy to do like 2 weekends or something. So I did like 2 hours per day over several weekends.
Okay.
And then it got to where people were anticipating coming. They'd be outside my garage door lined up.
Wow.
Standing at the door because they knew what they wanted from the pictures and videos. They were like, "How do I get on the mailing list?"
This is how you do it, y'all. Yes. What I asked this question. Yes.
I'm giving it all away. You can buy my Organize and Sell Toolkit. But there's a whole process I followed. And
We will add that link somehow. The link will be under this video. Yes.
It's like moveabroadplan.com/sell-it-all.
Okay.
moveabroadplan.com/sell-it-all. But I added tools and templates and all the things I did, right? Instructions and how. But it helped me follow, especially being by myself. And not having, a condition that can affect my energy, I had to really be smart about it. So there were people yelling at each other when they came in the garage. I remember one woman, she's in the military, and I found out that later, but she says, 2 women were like, "I was looking at that. I told you, Marcia, that I was getting that." And then I said, I didn't hear, and then they're fussing, and the military woman goes, "She already answered you." So it's like
some good stuff. What were they arguing about?
Purses, because I had some good purses. Anything. I really had nice things. I really had some nice things. I lived by myself. I bought nice things. So I had some really nice things.
This is 3.5. Lesson number 3.5. What you put in a dollar amount on, right? The material things that you put a dollar amount on. Look at that. Look at that Coach purse or that Louis purse.
You're not going to get the money back.
You're not going to get the money back. But if you sell it, if they're almost new, you sell it, what experience can that buy you?
Right. That's true.
What month Airbnb can it get you if you sell these things off? Like, what is more important? And I'm not going to determine that for you. What is more important? In my world, experiences are more important than material things. So I know it's hard to look at your stuff and say, I want to keep it. But if you're moving, you can't keep it all.
That's right.
Yeah.
And they represent a lot of hours of work, labor, and effort. So that's part of it too. It's a little hard to disconnect, but you can. And when you disconnect, it's so freeing. It's so relieving. Yeah. I did send my niece in Philadelphia like one of the nicer purses, and I have some jewelry that I promised her I'm going to send her way as well, the nicer ones I had, and because I'm like, you can borrow it while I'm out of the country.
The whole video is about how can Black and brown women choose freedom, right? Freedom, location freedom, material, detach yourself from material freedom. Like all of these are freedom choices.
Yes.
Right? You just have to choose which steps you want to take in which direction.
And explore the world. I think I said, I don't know what I said before in this particular version here. So sorry. But the US, I always go back to the US being 4% of the world's population.
Yes.
And we don't really know what's out there because we've been taught to be afraid of what's out there. And a lot of it's not true or it's exaggerated. Just like what we are taught about here, a lot of it's not true or exaggerated to keep us here.
Yes.
But they need our labor. They need our energy, our bodies. They need
our money.
Us to spend to support the system we have here. So they're going to do everything to keep you here.
Yes.
So there's a world out there to explore, and we're going to be a little anxious when we get started, especially if you haven't spent a lot of time anywhere else, because you have those biases, you have those beliefs that are getting in the way. But just be receptive and open to be an adventurer. Like, you know what? Get your curiosity back. When we were kids, when you've been around kids, that's all they are, is curious. That's all they are. So that gets kind of beaten out of us. Get back to being curious about the whole 96% of the world that's out there. Get out there and live and try things that you've never tried. And even I see people on social media going, ew, the foods and the way people do things. And I'm like, this way they do it. If you were born and raised there, that's what you'd be doing too. That's what you'd be eating too.
Try it. Even if you don't like it, you can say you tried it. Just try it.
You don't try everything, but at least be open to first just venturing a little bit outside your comfort zone and then going from there. I tell you, life is so much better with that. Like there's so much that we need to experience before we go 6 feet under. You just need to do it now. Like I'm going to start preaching because I'm really true.
Go ahead and preach because what we only have 20, however, whatever your age is, you only have a certain amount of summers left.
Yeah.
You only have I have more years behind me than I have in front of me.
Yes.
Can't wait.
Yeah.
Keep planning.
Yeah.
I only have good summers. I only have about 30 good summers.
Yes.
In me.
You hope because we don't know.
Exactly. That part.
So I always tell people I'm hoping for 85. I don't know why that number stuck on my head, but that's another for me.
That's a good life.
Yeah, that's a good life. But when my father passed, that was a wake-up call. But then when I got sick with autoimmune conditions, it really knocked me down because it was affecting me physically. I used to like walk 4 or 5 miles a day. I had a personal trainer come on Mondays. I was doing all this stuff. And then one day I got up and I could barely walk from my bed to my bathroom, my toilet. And my muscles, my knee, all my joints were hurting, everything. And it took years to diagnose because that's how those go, in case there's someone listening who's dealing with this.
Autoimmune diseases are often silent.
And there are like 150 of them. So most doctors don't even know where to start with that. And there are no like tests for pretty much all of them. Right. So it's just a process of elimination. But that happening and it taking a few years for me to get where they had where they could say, okay, let's try these medications because we think it's leading in this direction. And seeing the change, because it took me some things. Like I started having problems doing basic math. I started having problems reading words on a screen that I knew how to pronounce. Like it was affecting it was like aphasia happened. It was like all this stuff. And then medication started, there's cognitive clarity again, then my body didn't hurt, like all of that. But going through that, so that was during COVID. So I was here during that. Right. But going through that got the fire under my butt again. Like you don't know you may live those 85 years, but they may not be that great.
Yes. So live your best years now. Do it now.
Yes. Now. Yeah, now. If you're not listening.
We see I have 6 people in here. I only see 6 people in the chat room. So if you're here, introduce yourself. I can't see who you are if you don't say hello. Also, if you're watching, please take some time to like the video. Thank you for the reminder, awkward Black nomad girl. And if you like this content, share this video with others. So back to your journey. So you're on your last round of selling property. You're about to sell this house. Is the house up for sale now?
The house is up for sale. Right now we're dealing with the problem with interest rates. Okay. And the Fed has dropped the interest rates twice since the end of summer, and then it goes back up because of jobs, whatever, these whole technical things that work. So the market's kind of at a standstill. So I'm like, because I didn't want to be here when what happened last week happened. I was planning to be out of here midsummer. I was like, I'm done. I'm gone. So I was kind of stuck, but here we are.
So where are you moving to? What city in Mexico are you moving to?
I had chosen Mexico City, and so I was there for a few months earlier in the year. Well, to wrap up the residency, which took a couple of days, but then also to explore. I spent a lot of time in Mexico, but mostly more in the tourist traps. So this is Mexico City proper. So it's like 22 million people. Hello there. Diamond. I love it. So Mexico City, I visited different colonias and spent time in each of them so I could get a sense of where I would get an apartment if I got an apartment. Okay. Also, I went to pharmacias because I wanted to make sure medications I needed
are there. Right.
Are there. How easy it is to get it. I walked a lot there. I loved walking there. There's so many trees and green spaces. They love that. They value that. So that was very wonderful. I went to the pharmacy and just tried to see how I could communicate my needs. I went to my physician locally here and I got every prescription I had written in Spanish.
Oh, okay. That's a helpful tip. Yes.
That's in my I have a ebook called The Escape Plan. So that's the bigger thing. I go through like all things you want to make sure you cover before you move to another
We're
country.
going to promote all the things at the end of this video. She got a toolkit, a list. She got everything. She got
There
you
are only
covered.
three things. There are only three things. But besides the group coaching, there are three actual products. Okay. So one is about getting your stuff together to sell them.
Okay.
The other is about, it's called The Escape Plan. That was the first one I wrote. And that one's really just going through the steps, logistics, researching countries, all the things to get you to where you're going. And then part of that started talking about digital nomad life and how you can monetize and get funding and do all the things.
Right.
And I started realizing that needs to be its own book. And that's the one I'm most proud of. That's one that's most helpful to most people because it's about making the money. So in that one, besides selling
the digital nomad toolkit.
Mm-hmm. Money strategy. Yeah, that one. So it talks about not only about monetizing your skills, and first of all, identifying skills to monetize, because people imagine it just, they can tell themselves no all the time without looking. It talks about like where you can go to set yourself up. It talks about free money that's available to you, like the countries that are willing to give you free money.
Okay, so let's pause. Let's slow it down a bit. Give the audience 3 tips, right? If they don't know how to identify their strengths, right?
Okay.
How are they going to make money remote? We're talking about digital remote.
Okay.
How, give them just some tips, few tips to say how to start processing that.
Okay. Okay. And I do have, I'm going to give them tips right here, but I do have a free skills to cash course that they can just sign up for and get through the whole process.
It's already linked below the video.
Oh, that's the one you have. Okay, well, that's a freebie.
Yes, so it's already linked, but she's going to give you a little hint, a little preview to what's.
Yes, that was a freebie. But so the first step is to identify. Is the first thing you hear me talk about open-mindedness. So being open-minded about options. There's no no's. It's only yeses. You're going to sit down and ask yourself, what do people always ask me about? What are the things I've always been good at? What are the things I enjoy doing that I just, maybe it's painting, doing art, maybe it's whatever. Things that, because a lot of us who've been in corporate are only thinking.
Right.
Right?
What do I do for work? What have I been doing for work?
Or what I got my degree in, or that path.
People call me to organize their closet. I'm an organizer because I have OCD. I'm not diagnosed, but yes.
I'm all about meditation and calmness.
Yes.
Yeah. So you're going to go through and there's no. You're just going to go through and it's going to be yes to every single thing that you're either passionate about, you like doing, you've done before, whatever. Just go down. That list is going to keep going. And then that's the first part. That's the most important part because people will tell themselves no to things and we don't want to do that.
Okay.
And then realizing that there are opportunities out there that you haven't even thought about. For instance, let's say you just do painting. You may say you don't even have a college degree, but you enjoy painting and you're good at it, artwork. There are corporations that'll hire you to come in to do like team building exercises around that. They will have contracts for you to do that. So in that contract, you're making good money. If you're living somewhere like, I keep bringing up Thailand, so it's going to get a lot of publicity here, but living somewhere like Thailand, depending on where you're living, what you're doing, you can make money that could last you a very long time. And you may only need to work 20, 30 hours a week or whatever number of hours you choose to, depending on the lifestyle you're choosing. So the first step is just saying yes to everything you put on that list. The second step is allowing yourself to think outside the box in terms of what you have. Take that list and build it even more. The second step is realizing there are plenty of opportunities out there for you to take any of those skills and make them into something you didn't imagine. Like for instance, someone who's painting might not think they can go to corporate and get contracts, right? Someone who's doing cooking likes to cook. You're not even a professional cook. You're a great cook. Your friends love what you do, or you know how to simplify dishes and still make them great. You can get, as an example, a corporate contract, because corporate contracts will pay you good, that might be good money, right? You can get corporate contract. You're living in somewhere in Mexico where the cost of living is much lower. How many hours do you work in a week, right? And you're doing, that might be for them. You will have to pitch it a certain way, angle it a certain way, but you might be doing team building exercises in that. And you can do that remotely. You can do that. You have location freedom. You do that, you get dressed, you go out to the beach, or get undressed and go out to the beach, right?
Yes.
So is that helpful? Because I could go.
That is, and the link is below, but I'm gonna also post the link here in the chat for her
really.
skills to cash. This is her skills to cash, and that's a freebie. So look that over if you're interested in how to make your transferable skills right into remote work. Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't even seeing the comments. I was looking, it was on private chat. I was like, oh, there are people. But yeah, the Skills to Cash is really just an email mini course. So it comes to you by email every couple of days or so, over about 2.5 weeks. And it walks you through the process of what I just described. And then it provides you with tools and templates you can use as you're going through the process, like guidance along the way. So you can go through this process. I have like a Google Drive sheet that I set up. I gave examples of how I started doing it. And so you can take that, make a copy, and then it gets instructions for you to go through your own and go through each step. So.
Useful resources, people. Look into it. Okay, so what is your remote work? We went over this. I don't know if we did it in this session or the last one. But tell the people how you can afford to travel, how you can afford to live in Mexico and not worry about like what is your remote work gig?
Yeah, everyone's circumstances are different. And in my case, there are things like I had some, I work corporate, so I had my whatever I had left from that, right? I have retirement funds that I don't want to touch. So I have years, if I'm lucky, ahead of me. So that's there.
Yes.
So I was looking at what is present and available. So there's funds that I keep in savings, but also selling my belongings. I sold my car. I got like 33,000 for it. No, yeah, 33,000. So that was a big lump sum.
What? That's a great price for it to get from the sale of your car. What year was your car?
It was a 2017, but it only had 17,000 miles on it.
Wow.
Yeah, and yeah, it was a Mercedes, and it had like
you can't even buy a new car for 33,000 or more.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna do that, and I wasn't driving it. COVID happened. I wasn't getting outside. I live in the desert. There's a lot of dust. The convertible top wasn't coming down.
That's 2 years in Thailand. That's 2 years. $33,000. That's 2 years in Thailand. That money stretched. Okay.
And then I sold my furniture, which is the next level of things. And then I had all the purses and shoes were next and jewelry next level. And then I had a lot of plates and things and all the things. Like you have a lot more than you think. I had over 400 books. That's ridiculous. I'm a reader, so I had all that.
I'm not getting rid of my book. That's a problem. But yeah. Okay, but go back to what do you do? Your remote work gig. What do you do?
Oh, the work. Okay, so the work besides coaching, which I started early on before I got sick, because that was a pause. I was doing that, and that didn't take much effort because I'd been in corporate world and I've been in entrepreneurship world. And so there are people I knew or who knew me when they knew I finished my coaching certification, which is not required, by the way, folks, because people do it all the time. But I had gone through a whole training program. They asked me to coach them. So that was easy enough. And I wasn't seeking much because I didn't want to be that busy. But people found me and I took the opportunities, and these are people who had worked with me in some way. And so I did that. That helped me earn an income. And now I mostly lead with products. Like I mentioned, the products. I lead with taking the information that's in my head and putting it out into guides and templates and ebooks and all of that to help people through the process. Like, here's the process. And so the people I seek to help and the people I help in the process are people who are, one, looking to sell their belongings to move abroad. Like, here's the process for getting the most out of the most money you can out of it and how to approach it. So you do have competition for your products when people show up at your house, or do it online, partly online as well. And then the other thing is how to get out of the country, like what to plan, what to look at, all the steps you need to take, all the things you need to consider. And then the primary thing, the thing I love helping people with the most is becoming a digital nomad, because it's entrepreneurship and that scares some people. But I say, think of it as providing a service, and you don't have to do hard things. You can do things you love, things you're passionate about, and find ways to earn money doing that remotely. There are ways to do that. So I help people now with those things primarily, and it's through products. And then through the products, I have a Launchpad bootcamp, but I do wait lists. And then once I build the wait lists, I'll have a coaching session for a couple of weeks and then start over with the wait list again. That's the only coaching I do now. It's the only interactive piece. Outside of social media, people asking questions, whatever, that's the only interactive piece. I do products, and then from that, if people want more hands-on help, we go into the launch pad.
Okay, so let's talk about the digital nomad toolkit, right?
Mhm.
So in that toolkit, what tips? Just give me one or two. What are you providing for the person who wants to be a
Okay.
digital nomad?
Part of it is what we just discussed with skills to cash because I pull that out of it.
Got you.
So that was the kickoff,
Yes.
right? And also how to look for opportunities, get free money
Okay.
out there, right?
Okay.
So there, besides countries that are willing to pay you, and I've seen people online like, oh, those are all those little towns. No, they're not. Like New Zealand will pay you to come there like six figures. Now they're asking you to come there to work for one of their companies, but they will give you money coming in the door, like 120, like some over 100,000,
So she
right?
has a video about why Black women are was it Black women
Uh,
are moving to New Zealand, right?
yeah, it was a piece. It was a short from a little piece
Okay.
mentioning that. But
Okay.
yeah, I do have that. I think I just put a article out about that, which goes more in depth with that.
Okay.
But it's not a cheap place to live. So I'll say that. But there are places that most Americans would be comfortable living in terms of lifestyle and all that. And there's more familiarity with that. So it's about some of those countries that will help you fund you getting there, or where there's small investments required so you can get there, even if you don't have a ton of cash. I talk about ways to travel with less money. Stephanie Perry has talked about trusted house sitters as a way to stay in countries for extended period of times as a dog or house sitter, where you pay nothing except for your flight to get there and you take care of your food, but you have a residency while you're a resident while you're there. And
So have you done pet?
have I done house sitting? Yeah, I used to have two dogs, yes, I've done house sitting. Yes.
Okay. So her digital nomad toolkit is also linked below. Where do you think, once you're in Mexico, aside from Thailand, what other places do you want to explore?
Everywhere, everywhere. Okay, so I don't know why I feel weird saying this, but I'm not as interested in Europe.
I'm not either. Don't be weird. Mm-mm.
I mean, Amsterdam got me, and we got some places got me already. But I am looking at a lot. I want to hit the continent of Africa. I want to get to Ghana. I want to get to South Africa. I want to get to Mozambique. There's several countries I haven't done Africa, so I want to hit Africa. And then I want to hop around Southeast Asia more than Thailand. The ladies who give me my manicure pedicure keeps talking to me about going to Vietnam. They're like, you have to go to Vietnam. So Vietnam is going to happen. But Southeast Asia, more of Central America. I'm not as interested in South America, except for Colombia and maybe one other, but not as much. But go back to Central America, Northern South America, Southeast Asia more.
Okay.
And I need to do a tour in Africa. That was
okay. So you've never been on the continent at all.
been on the continent.
Okay.
Like, what? Yeah, so that has to happen. Sell this house so I can get out of here. Yeah, so I can start hopping around.
Okay. So I want to go back. I reached out to you because of one of your YouTube videos.
Yeah.
The statement you made. So we're talking about digital nomad. We're talking about roaming around, being an expat. But you made the statement in the video, and I want to talk about it. It says, it's not just about having the freedom to work remotely. It's about designing a life that aligns with your passions and goals, right?
Mhm.
So let's talk about, first of all, make it personal. How do you feel that your life now aligns with your passions?
Good question. Let me try to find the words. I have the feeling. Let me try.
And we feel it.
You feel it too. I have a feeling. I just try to find the words. How do I feel like? I feel so free. And I always say to people that peace of mind is the most important thing to me.
Yes.
and I have peace of mind. Okay, outside of this thing, a little hiccup with this autoimmune stuff, because that I didn't plan on, right? Because I got to
Yes.
navigate that. But other than that, I don't have any burdens or responsibilities that I don't want.
Yes.
I am free as a bird. Like I just like,
Yes.
oh, you outside this house that I need to get off the market. Oh, you want to hop over here for a month or two? I'm gonna go ahead and do that.
Yes.
Oh, you want to? There's a whole world out there. I'm excited about it. I want to experience it. I want to meet all the people. I want to do all the things, and I have the freedom to do that. And I can earn income remotely while doing that. So
And we
I'm
just went to the lessons 1, 2, 3, almost 4 of how the change, the mindset change you had to make at each turn. Lesson number 1 was when you was working hard and working all those hours and 80 hours a week and all of that, you wanted more freedom. You wanted to live more and less, work less, right? So that was the one change. Then the second change came about when you took your blinders off, right?
yes.
You
My
were,
ear, yes.
yes, and we all had blinders, some sort of blinders on,
Yes.
right?
I'm
Take
sure I
your
still do.
blinders off,
Yeah.
right? And then the third change was realizing you only got a few summers left. You only got a few good years left. Can't wait around, right? You have to act now. So these were the steps that you took, the changes, the mindset changes you had to make to get to live the life
Oh,
feel aligned, right,
yeah.
with your passion.
Yeah.
And your passion was traveling.
Yeah. You're making me realize how fortunate I am, and I just feel it now.
And are, yes, are.
Like, I'm grateful, but it's like, this is good because it could be worse.
Yes. And if you are watching and you have not done this, if you want to live a life that you
No.
have designed to fit your passions and your goals, and you feel that you can't, she's giving you suggestions. We've given you resources. If you need more, you can reach out to Marcia. To do that, you can click the links below the video. But this is what we're about. We're about trying to give you something to hold on to get through this last election, to make some change in your life. Yeah. So if you like this video, if you are encouraged by this video, please give me a like.
Give her a life.
Subscribe to my channel and to Marcia Unbound's channel, because she has some real practical advice about financial changes that you should make if this is your goal, mental changes you should make if this is your goal. So yeah.
And you can ask me anything. I have a link that's just for that purpose. You can ask me stuff privately. It's just at my.com/ask. Go there. You can just send me any questions. I'm very open. I'm an open book. If you couldn't tell from this video, yeah. So I'm excited about what I do and how I live, and I want it for everybody. I want it for all my fellow sisters. Okay, that's for everybody included.
First and foremost, yes.
First and foremost, because we
Yes.
do so much. We carry so much. We know, right? We know we deserve more. So
Yes. Does anyone have any questions before I go on? If you
oh,
do,
where am I located? Did I already answer that? I saw the
no, you didn't answer it. Go ahead and answer it for Miss Kia.
Oh, currently I'm located in El Paso, Texas, because I'm trying to get rid of my house, the last piece of real estate I have, the last thing I have in the US. So that's where I am until I can get this off the market. Then I'm out of here again.
So
I can't see the other question. So
I think that's the only one that was asked in the chat. So we've gone through the digital nomad list tips. We've gone through the skills to cash tips for people who are now ready to move abroad, to make that move, right?
Yeah.
Give us two little tips to start you off. What should they be thinking about? What should they be considering?
Okay.
Give us 2 or 3 tips.
Okay, that one's easier than the last one. Last one, I was like, how do I answer that? Tips. 1, get clear on your values and what's important to you, not what's important to everyone else, not what you've been told should be important to you. This is your time, your freedom. Own it. Go for it. Like, don't set any limits to when you first start thinking about this. Just go, what do I really want my life to look like? What is the picture I want to wake up to every morning? What do I like my days to be like? Don't say no. Just go ahead and let yourself go there. That's the first tip. Allow yourself to just explore the possibilities that exist in the world. And then number two is start by, don't just choose countries because everyone else is doing that. I see people doing that, like, oh, Mexico, a lot of Black people there, we'll go there. Really look at first, after you look at your values and your needs, look at where you can get that, where you can find that, and do some research. There are tools out there that helps you get the numbers like cost of living, medical, all those things that are really important. There are tools out there that you can look at and compare and make a decision based on where you are, because you are your own unique person. We talk about being Black women, but we're all still very unique. So you have your own needs. And so make sure you're looking into those things. I'm not saying that to scare anyone or to make it sound like hard work. I just think these are important things to guarantee that you're going to end up having the life you really want. And also, don't be afraid to, she said two, but I'm going to give you a third one. Don't be afraid to to explore first. Like visit some places. And when you visit, don't make it a tourist visit. Don't make it I'm just going to go capture the picture next to that thing that everybody else does. Don't make it I'm going to go onto the valley and get on that swing like everybody does. Like make it I want to go there and ask questions and get a sense of what it feels like to live there or to spend a lot of time there. Do I like this vibe?
Research the banking, research the finance, research the banking.
Sure.
Yes.
And
In that
healthcare, you know,
yes.
quality. So those are like really important things, but you have to make sure it's what you really want because that's a big step to go to move to another country. It's a huge step. So just make sure you get those three things together.
I think those were excellent tips.
Thank you.
Marcia, thank you. Thank you for saying yes. Thank you for continuing after the hubbub that happened. I thank you for being here. I thank you for
thanks for inviting me.
Yes, sharing your skills. Again, everybody, she has a lot of resources. Please check them out, some for free. For people in the future who are watching, her name is Marcia Unbound. Her name is Marcia Hylton, otherwise known as Marcia Unbound. Please check her out. Follow her. She has some great advice. If no one has any questions, we're going to end this video. And I want to ask you again to please like this video if you like this content. We're always here encouraging one another, not only Black women, but African Americans, Latinas, Indigenous women. We are here for all of us. We are all in the same boat.
Yes.
Now,
yes.
So we have more in common than we have not. I encourage you all, just to keep the faith, keep hope alive, and we're gonna be all right. So thanks for joining us.
Thank you guys.
I will see you all again soon.
Thanks, Yvonne.
Thank you.
Bye.
Stay around, Marcia.
Oh, okay.